All right, well, welcome to this final Stormwater Awareness Week workshop of the 2021 year, our 10th year anniversary. And we actually have been looking forward to this workshop, not only because it's it's the last one, which we always look forward to, right, Rebecca? But it's one where we want to cast a vision, and so we're grateful that you're here, that you're taking part in this, and we want to just kind of review quickly where we've come from, and the best way to review that would be through the keynotes that we did. So if you get a chance, watch those keynotes. We actually picked our favorite years. We picked our favorite keynote sessions. We picked some of our favorite promo videos, and we gave the behind the scenes story and told the story about Stormwater Awareness Week, how it started, where it began. And so I don't want to spend our time necessarily rehashing that, but I think you would find it interesting. And so if you watch those keynotes, you'll get some of that. But the question I'm wanting to kind of throw out here after a little bit of introduction, and I want this to be a little bit of maybe a brainstorming session, maybe a little bit of getting your input on this, or at least starting that process, because maybe you need to think about this and give it some thought and then get back to us. But what do the next 10 years hold? You know, we've just done 10 years. In our wildest imagination, did we see us being at this point 10 years when this thing started? Absolutely not. This Stormwater Awareness Week event has already gone way beyond anything we ever envisioned or thought possible. And so it's been a wild ride. It's been a fun ride. And we could have done it without all of you. So I have on the call right now WGR staff. I got participants who have just participated in watching workshops. And Bob, he's one of our presenters. I think hopefully we get Craig Kalaji here soon. So thank you to all of you. And we've had, like I said, we've had amazing times. Here's just a montage of photos that Rebecca put together as part of our website. You probably recognize that from this year's website. I mean, it started with that as stormwater education shouldn't be big business. And as if you remember, this whole event started right on the tail end of the Great Recession, and people didn't have money to spend on education. We were watching other educational platforms out there, like YouTube, for example, and going, wow, you can actually get some pretty decent education for free. And we're like, shoot, why shouldn't the stormwater industry be doing the same thing? And so that's kind of how it birthed. And then the other thing we wanted to do was make it very creative, very hands-on, very innovative as far as how we approached it. And so we did all sorts of crazy things in those early days. You remember when we actually did training in person, pre-COVID days, but holding workshops in the Home Depot parking lots and Caltrans maintenance yards, in all sorts of settings and situations. And it was a huge draw. And so, we've gone to SeaWorld, we've gone to the San Francisco airport, we've been to all over the state with our film crews, to Napa, to Redding, to all over the place. And so it's been really fun. And I don't want to be just the only one talking here. So I got some of our team who's been a part of this. And Andrew, you've been a big part of this. What's some of your memories? I know you shared a lot of them in the keynote sessions, but as we contemplate casting a vision for the next 10 years, what's some of your thoughts on what we've done and maybe where we're going?
Well, one of the things that I think is really fun at WGR and that Stormwater Awareness Week has allowed us to do is to make stormwater education interesting. And also something that I see this event as being different from the other offerings out there when it comes to continuing education is we really put a strong focus on practical education rather than always dwelling in the theoretical and in the big concepts. And a lot of our workshops that many of the presenters who have teamed up with Stormwater Awareness Week have presented, the recurring theme is it's very hands-on, it's very practical, it's immediately applicable. So that's really exciting. And then of course, from, my department with film and, the whole visual side, it's been a fascinating and fun journey to, I'm looking at the SeaWorld pictures right now on the screen, all of the crazy and fun things that we've been able to do. And I'd love to see Stormwater Awareness Week continue to do fun projects.
Yeah. I'm going to call on some of you cold, and I got Craig on right now. And Craig, you've been with us almost from the start, if not from the start. What's some of your recollections as far as your experiences with Stormwater Awareness Week?
First of all, I've always thoroughly enjoyed being involved with the it's such a unique way to communicate, and I believe very effective way to communicate and to extend, if you will, the knowledge via the archived video presentations and what have you, so that those that can't attend can come back oftentimes at a later date or what have you, and revisit topics that they may not have been able to work into their schedule. So for me, it's just such an innovative and creative way to communicate such an important topic, such as stormwater and all of its various forms, not only the quality and how we protect that stormwater, but even the what's becoming obviously very critical during these extremely drought-driven days is our ability to capture that water and retain it and repurpose it and reutilize it. As you know, John, my focus has always been on the recycled organic side of the business in regards to the best management practices, and that particular area of stormwater you will start seeing because of Senate Bill 1383 and other state legislation is going to become increasingly more and more important as it relates to stormwater. And you're going to see all jurisdictions within the state of California, every city, due to the compliance requirements of that law, of that bill, reaching out more and more to find new ways to use recycled organics. And I honestly believe that Stormwater Awareness Week is going to have a very captive municipal audience in the years ahead as they all search for ways to repurpose recycled organics. I mean, it's going to be a threefold increase in organics coming into the market in the next 5 years. Wow. We can barely utilize, or most people don't utilize what we currently produce, let alone 3 times that much. Yeah. So I can only imagine, in the effort to divert organics from landfills to address short-lived climate pollutants, how that's going to impact the water industry, particularly stormwater.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Craig. And speaking of people watching this, Rebecca's got some stats already this week. Rebecca's our coordinator. In fact, here pretty soon I'll introduce our team. I know I'm doing things a little backwards, but Rebecca, what have we been seeing as far as numbers this year?
So far, we're still getting a final count in because people are watching it recorded, and we have like all the keynotes and everything on our website. But right now we are over 700 registrants this week. So that's not counting a couple of the last workshops of today, and then whatever we get this weekend from people watching the recordings.
And when we compare live versus recordings, what percentages are we looking at, or recorded viewings, I should say?
I haven't recently looked at the recorded viewings, But at the beginning of the week, we were getting a lot of people live. And then once they
Yeah.
realized they could watch it later after the workday, then we started noticing the live attendance was dropping off, but the recordings were picking up.
Yeah, and in fact, I would say almost 50% of our viewings have been watching the recorded version.
Yeah.
Just from what we're our informal count, because we will look at how many people, like on this Zoom call, we have 10 participants right now. We'll watch that count, and then when we add it up and we get our count for the day, it's a lot higher than what we were seeing in person. So that's encouraging. People are learning this tool. They're learning that it's available, and it will remain available until next year's event or just right before it. So we're going to have more time to talk about things, but I do want to cover a few things just to remind you, and you guys probably are all fully aware of this, but we formed this event with some core values. And the number one is I mentioned that we don't charge for it. We don't charge the attendees, as you know. None of you got a bill for attending. You didn't have to put a credit card in. And we don't charge those who are presenting. It's not an advertising scheme. It's really no money changes hands. Now, that's not to say it doesn't cost us anything. It actually costs us quite a bit to run the event. But in the scheme of things, and it costs all of you, it costs your time to be a presenter, to prepare for your presentation. So we understand that there is a real value to what we're presenting, and there is a certain amount of cost to that. However, we have found that the dividends and the payoff from that are so much greater than what we put into it. Another core value is it's educational. You know, we tell everybody 55 minutes of education, 5 minutes of self-promotion is what we promote. And then Andrew said this, but it's practical. You know, there's a lot of other stormwater educational resources out there, like a big nationwide one. And then there's a regional statewide one. I'm purposely not naming names, but they tend, if you've been to one of those, they tend to be kind of cutting edge. They tend to be very maybe high tech, maybe very into the detail. And what we were noticing, especially when we launched this event, was that the average Joe or the average Jane wasn't getting the education they needed. The person who needed it, you know, the person who's responsible for spill cleanup, the person who's responsible for pollution prevention, the person who's responsible for collecting the samples, wasn't necessarily getting the education they needed from the statewide or the nationwide programs. And so our workshops tend to be, now we have a big spectrum of types of workshops that are offered through Stormwater Awareness Week, but they tend to be of interest to those people who are frontline, I would call them frontline stormwater, have frontline stormwater responsibilities. And they're the ones actually putting out the absorbent, right? So we're hitting that crowd, and we're providing the education that they need. They're usually the ones who are either installing or inspecting the BMPs. And we found that the real value in Stormwater Awareness Week is the relationships. We've built relationships with each of you and with many others. And that is where the business comes in. You know, when someone attends our free workshop, you know, we build a certain rapport. In fact, I'll still have somebody, many times, this happens all the time actually, I'll have somebody call me up and say, hey, you know, I saw you 10 years ago. In fact, I think Gretchen said this. You said the same thing to me today, just before we logged on. I was in your class 10 years ago. And that happens all the time. And that relationship was built, but, you know, maybe 3, 4, 5 years down the road, they have a situation where they need some help and they go, hey, I remember John's class or Craig's class or Bob's class. I remember going to that class, and I'm going to talk to that person about now a situation I'm encountering. And then the other core value is that this event, we really feel this. I hope you sense that we're genuine in this statement, but this is not WGR's. Yes, we organized it. Yes, we started it, but we purposely try to make this belong to the entire stormwater community. And that's actually why I wanted to hold this class, this workshop, is I want to cast a vision to the community. And I'm trusting that many will also watch this recorded. So if you're watching a recorded version of this, please hear us when we say that this belongs as much to you as it does to us. And with that, I want to get into a little bit of this. So first off, I probably should have done this early on, but introduce our current team who works so hard at pulling this off. Rebecca, say wave hi everybody, or that's my daughter Rebecca, and she's become our event coordinator, and she's done the lion's share of organizing this year's event, getting the publications out there, doing the graphic arts, doing the marketing, doing the social media posts, and really getting the word out there. Rebecca, you've done a lot of social media this year, more than any year before. Tell us a little bit about what you've been seeing.
It's been really interesting. I wasn't sure how many people that were on our social media would actually get involved, but this year it's been fun. I've seen names on social media start popping up and watching the workshops and attending. So we're connecting with people that are, in the stormwater industry, and they're installing the BMPs and they're doing the reports and inspections. And we've also seen people using the hashtag Stormwater Awareness Week. So environmental consultants, cities, all sorts of people are getting behind the week of stormwater education. Even though they're not hosting a workshop, they're using this week as a time to advertise to the people that live in their city or their clients about stormwater and how it's so important. So it's been really neat seeing even people who aren't presenting, who are attending workshops, spreading the word.
Okay, good. And then our video production, Andrew already said, talked to you about that. Andrew's my son. So it is a little bit of a family affair over here at WGR. And my brother was involved for years. You probably have seen him in some of the videos. And anyways, we're shameless about having our family involved. We enjoy it. But if you really want to see our video production crew at their true essence of who they are, watch this year's promo video, Back to the Stormwater Future, right? Watch that is really, they're not acting a whole lot in that video, actually. That's pretty much how they are. And you'll see Hugh Litfin in there and Jonah Sonner, who does a lot of the audio recordings. And of course, we have a lot of other folks that help us there. Web design is our president and owner of the company, John Ripley. He's rarely wants to get in front of a camera or on a Zoom call. Even though he designs all our technology, I don't know whether I should tell you this or not. He can't even do a Zoom call because he doesn't have a camera or microphone on his computer. Go figure. But he does all the designing. In fact, I think people would be really shocked by how small of a crew we have that actually runs Stormwater Awareness Week. And a lot of that is due to John's ingenuity and his genius when it comes to technology. He has automated our registrations and everything. Even in the days when we were doing registrations, it was all automated. And so all that really is John Ripley, our owner and IT guy. I'm the guy with the crazy ideas. I'm the operations manager here at WGR Lodi.
I could barely get him to walk.
I'm coaching Isaac's.
And here, let's and so I come up, I pitch the ideas. I'm like, I'll pull our staff together. Usually we'll give it another day or two before we think about next year's event. And sometime in December, I'll tell our staff, hey, what if we did this? And they all go, that is crazy. That's nuts. You're crazy, John. But I'm the guy with the crazy ideas. And then our presenters, well, they're you guys. They're you guys and many more. We can't do it without you. So that's our team. So here's where you come in. And here's where I'll leave off on my little spiel here and start hearing from you all. It takes a team, and we need you. And we've completed our 10th year, and well, especially at the end of event, we're tired. We're tired. It's been fun. It's been a blast. Every year at this point, we're like, do we do another year? It takes a lot of work. But what we really want to do, we want to see this event go on for years to come. And I really think the key to that is it truly being part of just the stormwater industry, and that we get many, many other companies, individuals, organizations involved in it. And when we all work together, it's really not that big of a deal. So, we need your help in even selecting a theme for next year. So if you got ideas, let us know. And creative ideas, like not just with the theme, but maybe, hey, have you ever thought about doing a workshop this way? Have you ever thought about maybe featuring this? And so we'd love to get some feedback and creative ideas. We need those. Of course, one of the core values that I didn't have on the other page, but one of the core values is that we all get the word out. And that's what makes Stormwater Awareness Week so neat, is that we're all telling others about it. And it's really, truly a grassroots movement. But the more people we get telling other people about it, the bigger the event will be, the more people will benefit from it. And so helping us publicize it, and then recruiting other presenters. Now, this year, actually, because it was the second year of being completely online, we use Zoom. I guess I'll digress just a little bit. This year, we really debated whether it was going to be completely online, just like everybody is, right? Do we come back from COVID? Do we not? What do we do? We really debated that too. And so we gave our presenters the option this year to do it online or in person. And we had one, right, Rebecca? We had one entity that decided to do it in person, and then they changed their mind. So it was 100% online again this year, which is not such a bad thing, because I think it's very convenient for people. Will it be in person in the future? I sure hope so, but I think the online presence will always be pretty significant. But anyways, with it being all online, we actually filled up every available slot that we had on our Zoom account to give a class. We actually had no more room for any more workshops. How many workshops did we have this year, Rebecca?
We had 31 at the start of the week. Then we had a couple people that something came up and they had to drop out. But yeah, we had 29 workshops that happened. Yeah,
one of them was today. I guess an illness was going. I hope it's not COVID, but something was going through their organization, so they all had to quarantine. And then another one's kind of similar situation, I think. Knocked them out. But anyways, during this week, or right before this week, we figured out a way to double that capacity, or even increase it much further. So in years to come, we'll be able to have lots more workshops. And so we need your help in, hey, have you heard about Stormwater Awareness Week? Would you think about giving a workshop? And it doesn't have to be a consultant. It could be a service provider, like we had lots of water treatment companies do that. It could be a product manufacturer. It could be even an agency. We've had many agencies give presentations. In fact, this year alone, we had Caltrans and the State Water Board giving presentations, and indirectly the National Park Service giving presentations. So you can invite anyone who has something to say about stormwater to this event. And then we want you to enjoy the benefits of Stormwater Awareness Week. I don't know about you. Of course, all our presenters, we got to process our data, but all of our presenters are going to get a list of the people who attended their class along with all their contact information. So we really try, again, because this is all of our event, we try to be very transparent and very sharing with that data. You know, we want to respect people's privacy and that type of thing, but if they attended your class, you should be able to have their registration information so that you can follow up with them. But we've already seen benefits in our company. I've received a couple emails already from someone who attended our class who said, "Hey, John, I actually need a proposal for something." And we've already seen that. And again, it will continue for the weeks and months and even years after the event. They will continue to come in. And maybe your class wasn't greatly attended. And we always point back to, you know, I had a class when we were doing it in person. This was a few years ago. I had a class that had, I think, 3 or 4 people show up. You know, it's like, oh, well, yeah. I was a little disappointed. But in that class, somebody was there from Granite Construction, one of the largest construction companies in California. And that started a relationship with them. And we got a lot of work out of that relationship, not right away, but as that relationship built, and as we talked more and more, the relationship just grew stronger and stronger, and we ended up getting more and more opportunities to serve them. And we pinpointed right back to that very first workshop that we gave with them with only like 3 people in attendance. So hopefully you experienced some of that too. So this is where I shut up, and I want to give you an opportunity to just share some ideas, whether you do it here and now or you think about it for a while and get back to us, but let's open it up. Feel free to unmute yourself. Let us know.
Yeah, John, this is Craig. One of the things I would like to, or I think about is if we were to do a survey prior to Stormwater Awareness Week, maybe even 2 months prior, where we asked the stormwater industry, municipalities, private, commercial, whatever, what are some of the topics they would like to have featured and addressed on Stormwater Awareness Week. And then given that kind of feedback, then that would go out to people that have been presenters or would like to be presenters and see if we could match the issues and the topics that people would like to hear with potential presenters, so that we were more targeted at what people out there were actually looking to see or would like to see. And then, so we literally do a survey, if you will, of the community, the stormwater community, find out what some of the more pressing, urgent issues are that they would love more information on, and then present that to presenters to go ahead and take up the challenge to actually address some of those concerns and those issues. I just think it would be kind of an interesting experiment in terms of matching interest and need up front with people who could address some of those needs and those issues.
Yeah, that's a good idea. In fact, I've already, my wheels are.
That's the only question I don't have an answer for, is how we would reach out and get that kind of feedback prior to people developing their presentations.
Yeah, my wheels are already spinning a little bit on how we would do that. I think we could do that through our website or through our email campaigns. And yeah, we'll give that some thought and figure out how best to do that. There are so many, how many surveys do you get asked to fill out on a given week? I think people are a little bit survey weary, but I think if I think done in the right way, we could possibly pull that off.
Maybe not even a survey as much as if there's one important issue that they would like to see addressed, what would that one issue be?
Mhm.
And just send it out there and see what kind of response you get. Make it real simple. What's one of the most pressing things that you think need to be addressed, and what would you like to have done on that issue?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we
we
can have
can-
an idea box, or
Yeah.
even at the end of this event, ask people what they learned and what they would like to see next year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe we do that through our mass mailing and even have it incentivized with a little gift card or something too. So yeah, let's look at that. Good. Any other ideas? Bob, this is your second year in presenting. What was your experience this year? Was it a good experience? And we appreciate you being a part of it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was easier this time because I wasn't having to develop a whole new presentation. It's still topical with the situation with water pollution control training. No, I mean, I'm excited about it. I mean, I'm already thinking about it. I've kind of just sent out an email to one of my staff who helps the training stuff for our employees to kind of put, the idea of it being practical and everything is that I'm already thinking of a theme for one I want to do next year on like safety on project sites. I used to work for a large heavy civil contractor and was involved in safety for that. I always am preaching safety to my staff and everything, and there's opportunities to put together kind of a presentation on that. So anyway, I mean, that's more me.
That's a great idea. In fact, if you could even do safety and stormwater BMPs. For example, yesterday I was talking to, I went out on inspection, snuck away from the workshops, and we were talking about erosion ground cover, what type of a blanket to put on. And I said, anything you put something on the ground, you're hiding obstacles. And you could be twisting ankles or something, so you have to think through some safety issues too.
Absolutely.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah. I was gonna send something to you guys after this meeting to kind of say, yeah, I want to do that because I have a lot of energy about it. I've seen and having worked for Tiger Construction, a heavy civil contractor, there have none on my watch, thankfully, but certainly been at a company when there have been some significant injuries and stuff that have happened and heard about them through the industry. And some of it's just, it seems like common sense, but not always, for people who are new. When you're around heavy equipment, there is just really no margin for error. So, and then obviously all the other pieces, walking on uneven ground, dealing with don't jump trenches, those kind of things. And then bringing it to a stormwater standpoint too, like, when we're talking about sampling and, dealing with something that might be at flood stage and those kind of situations.
Stakes sticking out of fiber roll.
Yeah, not trying to drive the job when you're the only person out there and it's muddy kind of thing, from a safety standpoint, falling off the road, getting stuck, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's good. I love it.
Anyway, yeah, no, it's been great. You guys, you do a great job. Very professional, the way it's all handled, how it all goes off without a hitch and everything else. For me personally, like I like getting involved in this. I think there are real benefits. There are benefits to Varix. There's benefits to just doing it, and I don't mind presenting. Obviously, I do these trainings and all, but when you're trying to balance it, I can't even imagine what you guys go through to try and put this thing on. But when you're trying to balance that, the sooner kind of the better that you start. In my opinion, you start the recruiting process. Like no time is better than like right now when it's fresh in people's mind to start recruiting people, because literally I'd like to have a year to prepare for something like this. If it's 2 months even or a month before the Stormwater Awareness Week to try and put a presentation together is daunting with every,
Sure.
It's not like we don't all have full-time jobs, right? To run companies. So anyway. That's
Good word. I like it.
Yeah.
And thank you again. Let's see. I think Gretchen took off. Yeah, I haven't met you. How are you connected with Stormwater Awareness Week? You've been a participant?
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. So I'm with Rincon Consultants.
Oh,
at the moment.
yes.
So
You were
I'm
one of the folks that had to drop out at the last minute.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was Caitlin from our team, so I'm just kind of representing Rincons. I've been with them for about 6 months now, and so yeah, I just kind of wanted to join in and see, kind of report back to our team, yeah, so see how things went. In the past, when I was in Northern California, I've done some of the webinars, so I kind of knew what to expect.
Good. Well, we understand, things come up and
Right.
we're always, being a small company ourselves, many times we're operating on a very thin, staffing margin, and if you get this big thing come up, you got to do what's best for the company. So we understand that. So hopefully next year we get you involved and get a workshop or two from you. And
Yeah, definitely. That sounds awesome. I mean, we were looking forward to join this year, but excited to see up in your screen. That's my ex-coworker, Kaylee Tully with Tully Consulting. I was with them for a good 2 years recently, so excited to see familiar faces and to join again in the future and get a little bit more involved.
We were so excited to have Tully join us, and they loved it. We're hoping they would be here this afternoon, but like we're just saying, they probably are busy writing SEM reports for all their Caltrans projects. So we understand. But they are really jazzed. Rebecca has had many conversations with them, and it sounds like they are definitely wanting to be a player with us. So.
Yeah, big shout out to Tully. They're amazing. Their workshop was super creative, very well attended. So very pleased to have them partner with us this year. And also a big shout out to Kathy Grant and Literati. Their workshop happened yesterday and it was very fascinating. If you haven't had a chance to go watch that workshop, you need to check it out. But as far as like pitching ideas for next year, in light of their workshop and the innovative ways that they are doing cleanup and education outreach with municipalities, it would be fun to see a cleanup event somehow tied into Stormwater Awareness Week, where it educates the public and gets Stormwater Awareness Week into that sector, and also, cleans up our planet. So it accomplishes multiple purposes.
Yeah. Some folks got really innovative this year. Another shout out is to Vern Slater with ATS Inc. Now, they get the award. In fact, we're thinking about giving out awards this year, paper awards, but just recognition. But they get the award for the perseverance. Vern, his company is in Loomis. And I don't know if you know where Loomis is, but not many people do. And when we were doing live workshops, Vern would offer a workshop every year, and he might get one person, maybe. Probably someone that lives in Loomis. But he, every year he would persist, and he was discouraged. And last year he was technology challenged. He really struggled. But this year, I tell you, he probably had the most impressive Zoom workshop. And if you didn't attend his, watch it. It's recorded, it's there. It was very good, very eye-catching. So he's definitely getting an award from us, a recognition award.
He was doing virtual experiments. It was really neat.
Yeah. And if you want ideas about getting away from just the standard talking head and PowerPoint for next year's event, get some ideas from that. That's what we were trying in Yosemite. We got, we had some connectivity issues, but some of the workshops like Tully's this year, some of the workshops that were favorites of the viewers were those that were getting away from just somebody talking and going through a PowerPoint. Not that there's not great value in those too, but I think people are getting more and more creative, especially now that we're entering our second year or almost 2 years in this pandemic. People are getting more creative. So, all right. Anybody else want to share? Even WGR staff?
Yeah, an idea. A lot of my clients are getting 60-day threat notices from third-party litigators. And I've noticed that a lot of the things on those letters they're getting are based on false assumptions and just they're just doing stuff to scare people. What I would like to see, in the past, we've done some workshops where they talk about protecting yourself from third parties. And I think we need to revisit that again, because I think especially this year after what I've seen with this third party group, it's just been really bad. But I'd also like to see, perhaps as part of this, since we are a grassroots sort of thing, something or somewhere where we can come up with a plan as a community to protect ourselves against such things. Is there some way where we can throttle back maybe, or find some way to help even start the process, which would probably be years down the road, but somehow start something to help throttling these people back that are seem to be so out of control and just throwing stuff out there and causing so much damage.
Yeah.
One is, what can we do to protect ourselves? I mean, we had that before, and that I think needs to be revisited. Maybe get some of our attorneys friends to come in and help with that. But also look into, perhaps we need to get some sort of coalition together to find some way to rein in these uncontrolled third parties that have really just kind of gone off the deep end. I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I have any concrete ideas right now, but I like the idea. We should do some more brainstorming on that. In the past, we've had Downey Brand involved with us, and they've been presenters. And in fact, the famous Western promo video we did was on that very theme, and it was the showdown and our keynote. In fact, it's featured in one of this year's keynotes. I think it's the first one, right, Rebecca? I think, yeah, Cowboys,
it's the first one.
Attorneys, Cowboys and Attorneys, and what is that? Cowboys, Attorneys, and a New Idea. So if you look at the keynote, you can see what we've done on that in the past. I think it's time to revisit some of that, and
Absolutely.
And it's a very relevant topic for sure.
And I'd like to see if we can, like I said, if we can explore the idea of people coming together, like a different community or coalition groups, whatever, to see if they can't bring balance back, some balance.
Okay. Well, on your screen, you see the contact information. So we want you to keep thinking about next year. And if you get a wild idea, shoot Rebecca an email. There's her email address. Shoot her an email or me, and let us know what you're thinking. And I really appreciate your input this afternoon in this, and just your involvement and your commitment to making sure that stormwater education is not big business, that it is available to the people who need it the most, and your commitment to that. So I don't have anything else. Anybody else got anything to say? All right, well, it's Friday afternoon and it's the last workshop of Stormwater Awareness Week. So I think we're gonna just let you all go, and we're all gonna breathe a sigh of relief, and maybe Monday when we come into the office, we'll be thinking about 2022. So we get to at least take the weekend off and enjoy it. So thank you, everybody. And I wish you the best.
Take care, and thank you, John.
All right.